Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can quickly set up your own YouTube Shorts video so that you can actually use it to primarily promote your YouTube channel, your business, your brand. Even if you have a blog, you can do it for a bit of fun depending on whatever avenue you want to take. I'm going to show you step by step here how you can quickly put together a video, and I'm just going to show you the process that I've used to create videos in the past and just show you how quick and easy it is to actually get started. So if you're new to the channel and you're finding content like this here to be helpful, make sure to leave a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and also feel free to share the video. Also, if you are looking for an honest and simple way to get started on your own online journey and you want to figure out the steps in which to do so, make sure to check out the link below in the description to find out more. So here I'm just going to show you my process. Now I'm using my own program, Adobe Illustrator, but you can do this in other programs like Google Docs, Google Slides, pretty much any type of word editing program that you actually have. All you will need to do is literally just set up your canvas and then literally just set up your font style and make it big enough so that it'll actually be centered on the screen, because all you're going to be doing using your video recording program is you're going to be just recording that section on the screen. So that's primarily what we're going to be doing. But again, I'm just going to walk you through the process. So our aim with this video is to actually be able to create a short, something like that as you see here on the screen. This was something I've been playing around with recently and I figured out how to put it together. So I just kind of wanted to show you exactly what way and how to actually do it. So by following along, at least you'll have an idea of how to structure your YouTube short video so that you can just get to work and get it created quickly. Right, so for this part of the process, we are recording the screen, so I'm literally just going to be typing what I'm actually thinking onto the screen. So you may have written down maybe a few notes, or if you just come up with just random ideas, just get to typing. But what you want to do is you want to have a consistent flow, and you want to try and do it that is error free. It's not an easy thing to do, I will admit. I've actually had to do a few takes in this, but I've just cut out the bits and pieces that weren't relevant because I don't want this video to go on too long. So as you can see here, I'm literally just adding the bits in that I want. I have sped up this section here just to kind of so that it's not going to take as long for you, because the last thing you want to be doing is watching a long boring video. But if at any point you want to skip ahead, feel free to do so, because you can kind of get the gist of the idea of exactly what I'm actually doing here after the first few seconds. But I just kind of just want to walk you through the process of exactly what I'm doing. So literally all I'm doing here is I'm just typing in what I need, and then I'm using images that I've downloaded off the internet. Again, I've already have them in my image editor in Illustrator. It's easy for me to have them on separate layers, so I can just drag what I need, drag it onto the canvas, and then literally then just place it on and then move it off, because then later on when I go to edit the video, I will be cutting all those segments out so that it's all continuous. So you won't see me dragging and dropping everything on the screen. It'll just literally appear as you've seen in the previous short video that I did. That's how I actually did it. So it's literally all I'm doing here is just walking through the process of how I'm actually editing everything and just kind of how to get everything set up. Now honestly, it doesn't have to be perfect. The one thing I would say about doing this here is don't overthink it, just go and do it. If you have an idea in your head and you want to do it even this way as I'm doing it, just follow along and then just get to work. It's the same even if you're recording yourself on camera, just do the same thing. If you make a mistake, just pause it and record again, and just keep testing out different ideas until you actually get something that actually works well for you. So as you can see here, I'm literally just rinsing and repeating the whole way through the process of this video, because again, when I go to edit this, which I'll be showing you now in a few minutes, when I put the whole lot of the pieces together, I will be speeding up the whole video, so just so that you can see for yourself. So that's pretty much all it's going to take. Again, because of the way this video is actually being filmed, and in order for the video to actually be set up, you will need to maybe open up a new file and bring the file into the editor again so that you can re-export it and do a few other tweaks. It is kind of difficult to try and do it all within the one file that you're working on, because I don't know what likes of Filmora compared to other video editors. If you hide the layers, even when you go to export it, it still exports everything on those layers, and what ends up meaning is the file size ends up being a lot bigger than it should be. So it's just something to be aware of. But again, this is me now, just literally just finishing this part of the segment here, and you'll see now soon it all start to come together. So now that I've actually recorded the elements of the text and so forth that I want to type out, that I'm going to use in the video itself, the next thing I just quickly want to do is I just want to record a little bit of a voiceover, or just do a bit of a screen kind of recording of certain elements of some videos and stuff like that on my channel, and even just my main channel page. And I will actually use this here as kind of like a stop off point in between each of the text elements, just to kind of show a bit of a screen grab or an extra bit just to break the video up, so that each reference that's made on the text kind of relates to what's actually going on screen. So it literally has to be about 4 or 5 seconds of each. It doesn't have to be much, because again, we're going to be speeding it up as we're going through the video anyway. So this is just to capture that. And if you do have any text or elements or anything like that that you want to kind of remove or change up, you can actually do that. So you can have a wee mess around with it. But again, this is just to kind of just showcase what's going on here. Right, so what I'm actually be doing now is I'm just going to be editing this real quickly. So I'm literally just going to go through and scrape through the bits and pieces that I want and what I don't need. So when I've actually gotten to a certain point that I want to start adding a little bit more information into the video, all then I'll do is just I'll cut it, remove the other pieces that I actually don't want. And what I'll do in the meantime is, if I've recorded the screen that I've actually recorded, if I have it in a small section actually here, all I'm going to do is click and drag it into the workspace, and I'm literally just going to cut the pieces out of that I don't actually need, so I can break it up into separate parts. So as you can see here, it's literally a case, and I can just cut that out. I can move it out of the way, up onto a different layer, bring this back in, and then I'm literally just going to go through the process until I get through to the next point that I actually need, so that I can actually just get everything synced up properly. So once I've gotten to another point, I just click and then I cut it out again, and then it's just a case of dragging the next part in and putting it back. And then as you can see here, you're having cut off points, so you're having kind of pattern interrupts, so it's going on to the next point, so it's kind of reflecting what you're actually saying in the video. So then you can just like go through the process of going the whole way through till the end of that, until I get to the point. So what I'm quickly going to do is I'm going to just jump ahead and finish off editing this section of the video, and I'll jump back in once I actually have it done, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do to export it, and then set up the whole new file so that we can actually set it up on the proper resolution and dimension so that it's ready to be exported for the video short. Right, so I'm near the end of finally finishing editing up the video. I've actually cut through the main parts, as you can actually see here, so the video is pretty much ready to go. What I actually need to do now, just to speed up my process, I could do it in this but it would just take too long, is I'm just going to make an export of the video so that it combines all this into one file. Then I'll open it up inside a new file here on my video editor, and then what I'm going to do is I'll add in the audio into it as well, and what I'll do is I'll speed up the whole video sequence itself just so that I can sync everything together. But I'm quickly going to just jump in and do that now. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you quickly export your video. So in my case, I'm just going to have it as, so I'm just going to put it in whatever I have, make sure that the dimensions are exact, and just going to click export. So I'll jump back in now in a second when this is actually done, and I'll just go through the final pieces that we need to get set up. Right, so we are there pretty much with the final few steps that we need to do. There is a couple of little things that we do need to finish off before we do go ahead with anything here. So what we want to do is you want to make sure that you open up a new file within your video editor, and you want to make sure that you bring the file onto the editing window. What you then need to do then is you need to go over to wherever you may have like free to use like audio tracks. So in this case, within your YouTube dashboard, you can actually come over to the audio library. Then what you can actually do is you can actually search like sound effects or even free music. You want to look for free music, especially because the free music allows you to actually use it without actually having to, you won't get in trouble basically if you use it. you can still make a note of it in your video description to let YouTube know the title track and to say that you downloaded it from the YouTube audio library, but YouTube itself will actually know that you've actually downloaded the file from here anyway. So when you can test the files here, you can play them and get previews of all the audio tracks. But when you're actually happy with a particular one that you want, you just come over to where it says added, and then a download button will appear. You click on that and then you can download it. So then it's a case of then once we jump into the video editor, you want to import it in also, and then we can just go ahead with trying to finish off some of the final steps. We will need to do one final export of the file before we actually put all the pieces together. So I'll quickly just show you how to do that. So this is the last edition of the file that we actually were working on, but at the minute it's actually too long. It's like 4 minutes in length. So all we want to do, because it's all one piece, inside the video editor there will be a tool depending on which platform you're using. In this case in Filmora, all you want to do is right click on the piece and you want to come up to speed and duration. And then what you want to do is you want to play around with the sources so you can set it up. So in this case I can just put in 4, press enter, and you can see there now it actually greatly reduces the actual size. So the final piece there shows is 1 minute 4 seconds. So what I actually need to do is I need to bring it in again. So I can come in here and say 4.5, press enter, and then press OK. And what that is going to do now, again, it's going to reduce it even further. So there you can see now it's under the minute mark, so it's about 57 seconds. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to reduce it even further. The reason being is because, as we all know, these videos are cool to be able to put together, but people's attention spans are so short online that even a minute long video, people will click off after 10 to 15 seconds if they don't find it relevant to what it is that they're actually looking for. So to get the maximum effect out of it, especially out of a short video, yes, you can make it under a minute long if you want to, depending on the content you have in it. But if it's relevant enough, you can keep it within 15 to 20, even 30 seconds. So in this case, I want to try and reduce this a little bit more, just to kind of shorten it, so that way then people aren't spending as long watching the video, and the less time that people actually have watching it, you do have a better chance of actually getting people maybe to move on to clicking on your video and so forth. So you can just keep playing around with the different settings until you've actually found something that you can actually think that's actually going to be helpful to you. So you just keep reducing it until you're actually happy enough with it. So there I have it down to about 47 seconds there or thereabouts. So the next thing then you want to do is you want to take your audio track that you've actually downloaded and you want to drag that onto the timeline as well. And then what you want to do is you want to play that and test that and make sure that it's in sync with everything, and to make sure that it's coherent across the board, that it actually reflects what's actually going on the screen. It's just that you want it to sound and look as appealing as possible, because the music in the background will really make the video more appealing. So if you can nail that, you will definitely have a more engaging video, and they're highly likely that more people will engage with it. So you just want to play around with it, which I'm going to do here, and then when you get to the end, then you can export the file again. And then what I'm going to do is quickly show you how to set up the correct orientation. You will have to do one more final export after this, but this will be your final file to show you exactly what you need to do. So we'll quickly just jump into that. Right, so with the audio and the file exported together, we now have our final piece. So again, you want to open up the editor again in a new file for the final time, and what you want to do is take the file onto your media area where you can import the file, and then what you want to do is we need to set up the correct orientation so that the file is going to be set up, because primarily this is going to be aimed at mobile users. So you want to come into File now in Filmora, you can go to Project Settings, and then what you want to do is you want to make sure when it comes to resolution, you want to come down and you want to make sure that it's set to custom and make sure that it's at least 30 frames per second. Then what you want to do is, instead of having it like 1920 by 1080, which is usually the standard HD definition, you actually want to go the opposite way. You want to actually have 1080 by 1920. So it'll set it up in a portrait as it would, it'll show it like as if it would show it on a mobile phone, like on a screen. So when you've set up that aspect ratio, you just click OK. Then what you're actually going to do is, once we add the file in, so you will actually get prompted to make sure that you actually keep it at the settings you've just set up. So it's a 1080 by 1920. Click that, and there you go. That's actually the way it'll show up. Now it'll vary depending on whatever video editor you're using, but if you use that standard setup 1080 by 1920, this is primarily the setup that you will get. So it'll give you a preview of what it's actually going to look like on an actual mobile device. So it's literally just a case of that you can just make sure you test this just to make sure that everything's okay, and literally it's just a case of just exporting the final piece. You just make sure that you export the file and you're ready to go. The last thing I want to quickly note is that when you actually go onto YouTube, when you're going to upload your file, again you go to create, you go to upload file or upload videos, and then you can just drag the file on from your desktop onto this here and it will start uploading. So when that's actually done, you want to come into your video description, and as you're going through the editing of your description, you want to make sure that your characters on your YouTube title is no more or less than 40 characters. You have a maximum amount of 40 characters, but you can't have it any more than that, so it has to be 40 characters or less. But the most important thing, so that YouTube can recognize that the video that it is a shorts video, is that you need to put the hashtag shorts in the title, but just for clarification, also put it in the description as well, somewhere in the description. So that way then you're giving yourself more avenues and better chances of YouTube actually knowing that this is actually going to be a YouTube shorts video. So now you pretty much have it ready to go. So your video will be whatever length it is, as long as it's under a minute. Primarily the best amount of seconds to really go to on the video, maximum amount to be 58 seconds, but anything less than that is good to go. And like I mentioned earlier, people's attention spans are so short, so you kind of want to get your message across as quickly as possible. So if you can make the video shorter in order to do that, then do that. It's totally up to yourself, but as long as you stay within those limitations and those guidelines like I mentioned in the video, you should be good to go. So just remember, you have 40 characters or less for your YouTube title, and you must have the hashtag shorts phrase inside the title and in the description, and then that's you'll be good to go. So that's it now for this video. It actually took a wee bit longer than I expected it to, because there is so many things that do need to be kind of done. You do need to open the editor right, and you need to retweak and re-export and import files in, especially if you're doing it this way. But you don't have to follow my exact lead. I only created this video to kind of give you a guide or a step-by-step process of what is possible. You can follow the steps here, but then you can use your own video. So if you're actually recording yourself in camera, you'll be able to do this 10 times quicker. But again, at least now you know the steps. So it's just a case, record your video, edit whatever bits you need to edit, tweak the things you need to tweak, add in the audio, make sure that it's the free audio music that you can either get from whatever audio services you're using or the YouTube audio library. And then just make sure you set up the correct orientation or aspect ratio on your file, export it, upload it to YouTube, do the steps I mentioned to add the hashtag in on title and description, and keep it within 40 characters, and you're good to go. So primarily that's what it takes. So hopefully now you'll be able to actually gain a little bit of traction, and if you're a small channel, that you will actually start to see some level of results in time. So what are your thoughts on this process and your thoughts on the YouTube shorts in general? Do you actually genuinely think it's going to be a good avenue for small content creators in the future to really start gaining leverage and to get more eyes on your content? Let me know then in the comments below. So if you have found this video to be useful, please make sure to leave a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and also feel free to share the video, as you will be notified whenever I do release more content that will also help you to move forward with other areas in your online business. Also, if you are looking for a simple and effective step-by-step process to get started on your own online journey, and you want to figure out the steps in which to do so, make sure to check out the first link in the description below to find out more. And again, make sure to check out some of the videos here on screen that will also show you some other avenues of how you can get started with your own online journey and make an income online. And I will see you all in the next one.